cold open was, are there any like lines or quotes from movies that you just will randomly say out loud whenever you're like in a situation, but like repeatedly, like part of a repertoire? And I know that the other two have one, and I have, for instance, if for those of us that have watched Resident Evil, in the opening scenes, there's a part where she goes, "There's no fire, no fire." Just anytime there's a problem, and it's not really a problem, I'm just like, stop, there's no fire. So I'll quote that out loud for no reason.
I have, The Hot Chick is one of my favorite movies, and I have a little sister named April, so I would, anytime I call her, I'm just like, April, like.
Mine's from The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Am I eating because I'm bored? I say that a lot. And I say that to you. I don't know what to. I'm sure there's more, but I can't think of any right now. But that I definitely.
Yeah.
Hate, double hate, loathe entirely.
That whole movie's very quotable.
Yeah.
I pretty will often say "clever girl" from Jurassic Park. Mostly
That's
it's like
a good one.
to my dogs, even though they're not girls, they're both boys, but you know, whatever.
It works.
Do Harry Potter quotes count? Because you know damn well me and Antonio go to Clown Town.
We really do, but
you pull that out right now.
We usually, we have to use something that's very applicable. It's like apropos to the moment. Like it has to be.
Oh, so Trevor is not apropos to the moment.
No.
I've heard Trevor twice in less than 24 hours.
In less than 24 hours.
But he used it earlier.
Yesterday.
He used it last
In
night.
the car.
I don't even know if I used it so much as I just said it just to mess with people.
Trevor!
It's not even like something that's usable.
I don't know what movie that one's from. Who even says that? Who the fuck is Trevor?
Nope. We're gonna drag her into a marathon and we'll see if she can spot the quote.
I'm like,
y'all are some
so
nerds.
I just also want to say I quote The Dark Knight a lot. I quote the Batman, Christopher Nolan ones a lot.
Where is she?
Swear to me. Where is she?
Thank you, Ketzel. That was the other. I was like, there's another one that I quote a lot, and it's the Batman.
It's Batman.
Movies.
I was gonna bring up the Austin Powers.
Oh, I
Who does number 2 work for?
Hey, real quick, Claire, what are your thoughts on Austin Powers? I need to know because there's 2 for, 2 against, and I need someone to tip it one way or the other.
Goldmember is my favorite. I'm sorry to disappoint you. It's really just nostalgia because my friend in high school and I watched it and we cracked up laughing the entire time. So it's really just like those memories that I'm going off of.
I hate it here. This does not go the way I thought it would.
You ever see the light in someone's face die?
Yeah, I just did.
And that cold open is now warm and ready to be served. The end.
Ding! Your food's ready.
Hey y'all, welcome to Sit Down Loser. We're watching a movie. My name's Dahlia.
I'm Sky.
I'm Antonio.
And I'm Ketzel. And we're just 5 terrified filmmakers who watch movies that everyone else has watched. Except one of us is a loser who hasn't. Today we're watching a movie that had everyone looking at camping real different. The Blair Witch Project, released in 1999, directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez. And today's loser is Claire, who is joining us from Why the Flick. Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Hi, Claire.
I'm so excited to be a loser with you guys today.
Oh, it's amazing. We're like cross
Contaminating?
I was going to say
contamination.
Cross-contaminating.
Contaminating.
The echo chamber is
Blending.
now bleeding out.
It's incredible. No, it's called a crossover. I
No.
found it. Our first crossover. Ah!
Aw. I'm so honored. Thank
So
you so much
excited.
for having me. I'm super excited.
We're
Yeah.
super excited because you're our first like loser crossover, and we're just so jazzed to hear what you think about this because all of us have watched the movie. Let's preface that right now.
I do want to say, a real pleasure to have a loser that is not any single one of us. So that is also very nice. I think this is the first.
Yes.
So first we're gonna go over why the flick did we pick this.
Hey, that sounds familiar.
I'm so glad you put that in there.
You know, I'm schmoozing the
gosh.
guest, okay?
Clever girl.
Ah.
So first of all, when you gave us a list of options of movies you hadn't seen, I feel like we all saw Blair Witch and were like,
I was
that's
really
her.
hoping you were going to pick that one. Yeah.
It's shocking. That
is a little bit.
escaped you.
Well, yeah. So it came out in 1999. So I was 9 years old when it came out. And yeah, like too young probably for my parents to like let me watch that movie. But I think over the years I was just like too scared to watch it. And then got to the point where it's like, it's not relevant to me anymore. And so really it's not been like until this past year. My co-host Elizabeth and I watched Scary Movie, the Scary Movie parody, and they parody this like one scene in Blair Witch Project, but I never knew the reference because I never saw Blair Witch. And so like after that point we were both like, we want to see this movie. And so then Halloween time hit and I was like, I really want to watch this movie. So I'm really glad I did.
Beautiful.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
The boogies.
You don't watch movies either.
I've never seen
I'm
a
not one
film.
to talk. Have you ever seen a film?
A flam.
Have you ever
So-
seen a movie that felt like a movie?
Absolutely.
He'll
This
never live
didn't
that
feel like a
down.
movie.
Never.
This felt like real life.
And you know what? I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you brought that up because one of the reasons to pick this at this, like, we had Cannibal Holocaust really be like the first found footage film, which I hate to bring it up in front of Antonio, but here we are. He loves the film.
I don't love it. I don't
but-
love it in its entirety, but I do think it's something that everyone should have to watch. I don't, love
No.
the fact that, that's realistic. They're not realistic. That is a real, that's real animal cruelty. I do think that, after I read everything about what happened with it, they did do stuff with the animal parts, so it wasn't a complete waste for most of them, but there were some that wasn't necessary.
This is haunting. I never knew that.
Oh, I'm so
I've never
sorry.
seen Cannibal Holocaust.
I thought
Yeah,
we've never
me neither.
discussed
It's
this
okay.
at all.
I don't want to watch it. The
No,
only
I don't
animal
blame
cruelty
you,
movie I
and-
know is John Waters' Pink Flamingos, I think. Because they with that chicken.
Oh yeah.
The end.
With a chicken, and there was a chicken.
The end.
That's the
Claire,
end
you
of that.
never
Anyway,
watched Cannibal Holocaust. You're good. You're good.
No,
you're
you
good
guys
too.
are. I think it's something that if
Was Cannibal Holocaust the first one? I thought there was something before it.
Well, we watched the found footage documentary
Documentary.
on Shudder. Shudder, please sponsor us. But I feel like that was the first. Yeah, there might have been one before it.
I
Like
think
there
there's
was
one
an old
before it.
one where you see through the eyes of the killer or something.
Yeah, it was from it was black and white, right?
yeah, there
Yeah,
was
it
a
was.
black and white
Yeah.
situational one,
So
POV,
technically,
not the first
It
one,
wasn't
the first one.
but
but
maybe,
it is one of the first ones.
maybe major release.
And then it's followed by that is the Blair Witch, which just completely popularized it. The viral marketing was chef's kiss. People I was reading a while back that on IMDb for the actors it said presumed dead. Everyone
Yes.
thought they actually fucking died. And
Crazy.
It was amazing.
it's amazing. And then this was the early ages of the internet, so those websites look really real.
They look.
You couldn't tell what was
sketch.
real, what wasn't. They look real sketch. And then I know you mentioned this, Claire, in one of your things that also the recording of it was really wild. of
Oh my
the
God.
movies,
Yes. I don't think they could get away with it nowadays. The three actors basically went through psychological torture to act, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a lot of improv, but yeah, they had to apparently sign a release form saying that the crew was able to mess with their heads, and they really didn't have a script. They had just an outline of what the mythology was behind the Blair Witch, and then a lot of the dialogue came from them naturally. But most of the time they would be walking around the woods by themselves. The three actors, the crew would be off site but the actors would be walking through the woods, and like every day they would get like a box sent to them with instructions for like what they were supposed to do for the day, and they were supposed to like hand over their footage. And then they had a walkie-talkie for emergencies, and then they had a GPS tracker to like help them figure out where to go to their next campsite, and like the crew would help build the campsite, but a lot of what they did was by themselves.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
know that
crazy.
about that.
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah.
that.
The script was like 35 pages, I think.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what do we do? And they're like, fucking do it yourselves. Here
Yeah.
you go.
So having said that, there's a movie that I watched that was absolute garbage, and I'm trying to figure out what the name of it is. It's some stupid, like, it's all supposed to be improv. There's like no script. There's just general ideas. I don't know the details as much as you do about this. But the movie turned out so terrible. So I always wondered, like, I didn't know that this was improvised, like the entirety of this. So this just goes to show that this actually had like caliber behind it. Whereas like the one that I watched, and I wish I could name drop, just another terrible movie on this pod. But it was bad. And it's about dinosaurs, and it's found footage. It was so bad.
Oh,
It was
man.
And it
so
was
bad.
bad.
It was so bad.
No, it was bad.
And
You
if
mean those
it's
dinosaurs couldn't improv?
They ain't no Jurassic Park
They
dinosaurs.
can't even talk.
Yeah. Those are the A-list dinos.
Yeah.
I think Claire, you're so right. Like, I don't think that anybody could get away with this anymore ever again.
Mm-mm.
And even like, I will say that I have seen the movie before, which is so crazy, right? Me?
Yeah.
And then I also saw and I saw that there was a Blair Witch 2016, which I think follows the rest of the story. We could talk about that later, but I mean, I saw the trailer and I was just like, it just ain't the same. Like the whole thing of it was like, it wasn't even pure found footage. And maybe it's just because it looks like not grainy and not garbage, and that's what made it so scary. Like, I think it did come out in 1999, but they filmed it in 97, so I'm just like, they had like 2 years to like get all this shit together, and I'm kind of like screaming because I was watching some videos online before, and I'm like, I hate this. I hate it.
I think me and Sky have like vehemently disagreed on the 2016 Blair Witch, but we can talk
which
about
one
it
of you
later.
doesn't like it?
I don't
Sky.
like it.
I'm with Sky's.
And I liked it.
I'm with Sky's side. You can eat
I don't
glass.
like it.
It's not great.
It like, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't know. This one, I don't want to say it's magical by any means, but it was like, it has such magic to it because of the time
Would you
it was
say
made.
it's like goated with the sauce, and like the new one is
Never
not?
mind. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm done.
You're done. You're cut out.
I found the name of the movie. It's called Area 407.
Of course, you found the name of the
I
movie.
had-
so
I'm
you
writing
can
that
name drop
down.
It.
It's
I'm gonna watch
so
it
bad.
too. Found footage of dinosaurs, dog. I'm
You had
gonna
me at
watch it.
dinosaurs.
It's all
We're gonna watch
improvised.
that,
It's like I didn't know that. It's so bad.
This is one of those movies that Antonio will say and you can watch, but literally every other movie, no. Like
Ooh,
Hatching.
I love going like
Feast.
any direction.
Yeah, I
Like-
don't want to watch Feast. I don't.
Don't
never seen
ever
it?
watch
Sorry.
Feast.
No.
Don't ever watch Feast.
Don't watch it. Save yourself.
I read the summary.
I made Ketzel
Oh,
watch
God.
like a dozen movies. Not a dozen. How many did we get through the day that it was just us vibing out on the couch? Like 5?
5.
I made you watch Climax and Cursed with Christina Ricci.
We watched a lot.
We
You're
did
like,
watch a
let
lot.
me get out my whack.
all my
movie
stank on you.
Rolodex. And I simply
Click.
could not get up.
So you were held at gunpoint.
You were
That's
glued
what
to
you're
the
telling me.
couch.
I'm just picturing like clamps on Ketzel's eyes.
Yeah, like very
Like leather
very,
straps and like the
clock-
eyeball things.
Clockwork Orange
Yeah.
status.
Well, you guys watched one good movie though. You guys watched Significant Other, right?
Yeah, that was good.
I don't know, Claire, if you've seen it, if you have any comments about that.
Mm-mm. I
Significant
do
Other.
not. No, I haven't seen it. But
Are
no,
you
I'll
big
add
into
that one to my
horror?
list. So I'm like a newbie horror person. Like I think I sent this to you guys, but like I got really traumatized by The Ring growing up, and so I was like,
Same.
nope, I'm not watching anything horror related after that. And it's just really been within like this past year and a half that I've been like, I can do this. I can watch these things. Like I watched 31 movies for Halloween. I say Halloween, but just the month of October. Like that's what I consider to be all Halloween. So yeah, I watched 31 scary movies that month. Yeah, it was great. I had a fun time. So I'm getting more after I watched all of those scary movies. This one was the Blair Witch Project was a little bit less scary for me personally.
What out of the 31 movies you watched, what was your favorite one in October?
Oh God, that's hard to pick. Shoot, I'd probably say, I really liked Nope.
Yeah,
I saw it in
so
theaters.
Unique.
Which one?
Yes.
No,
Which one was the scariest? Do you think?
I haven't seen it.
Was there any of them that you had to like kind of stop?
Yes. I didn't stop as I kept trying to go, but I watched with like my hands over my eyes. The Descent.
Yes, I love The Descent.
Nice.
That one was recommended to me, and yeah, I think I had a heart attack the entire time I was watching it. And then I immediately followed it up with a comfort horror movie, which I decided would be Paranormal Activity, because that's one of my favorite found footage horror movies. But yeah,
God, I love found footage.
Love that series.
yeah.
That also brings me to, I wanted to ask this with all of you guys. What's your favorite found footage movie? Since she said Paranormal Activity.
Grave Encounters.
That's a good one.
Let's go with that.
That's your favorite one?
It's one of my favorites.
Out of all the ones you've seen,
I'm trying to see.
Not even Poughkeepsie?
I won't say it's my favorite. I'm not that twisted. I just enjoy, disseminating that sort of like information out to the world, and just like, I think everyone should watch it because it's terrifying. It's god awfully terrifying. But like, as for like, what am I gonna put on to go to sleep? Probably like Grave Encounters, or it used to be Grave Encounters a lot.
Antonio, your comfort movies are just so interesting.
disturbing.
I don't know if comfort.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that yesterday.
We were saying that I have gone to
Midsummer
sleep
playing and like
Midsummer Things, Hereditary. If I don't,
I did watch. Did you say Midsummer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You guys had an
I watched that
episode,
once.
no? Yeah.
Yes, that was something I covered, and it left me speechless. And I'll just leave it at that.
Positive or negative?
I was like, I mean, it was. I think I was fine watching it. I don't know if I want to say enjoyed it because it was really dark. But yeah, I think I'm glad I watched it, but I don't think I'll ever watch it again.
It's a one and done.
fair enough.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
People have those.
Just like Dead Silence.
Oh yeah,
Well,
yeah,
we go
yeah.
to sleep to this.
Oof. Dead Silence. I'm like, all right, that was fun. Now I can say I've seen it, and I no longer have to hear about it again.
My favorite found footage
no.
movie.
I hadn't said
I'm so
mine,
glad you
Francisca.
asked.
I was about to ask you because I hadn't said mine.
Well, I love Creep. We all know this. I love Creep.
Yes.
But the other one that I really, really love, and I would consider it found footage, is As Above, So Below.
Yes,
That's considered
it is.
found footage, right?
no, that is
Okay.
actual
Yeah.
found
Yeah.
footage. The pyramid is the one where it like kind of breaks up and is kind of weird.
Ketzel, what's your favorite?
Oh my god, I'm so glad you asked. My favorite is Wreck.
Of course it was.
The Spanish.
This
Yeah,
was
so-
not news.
It's
Oh,
not new.
number one?
No, number one. It haunted me and I loved it. I love it so much. I rewatched it the other day and I'm like, still gets me, gal. And so this goes into our final point about why we picked Blair Witch. Is it scary? Is it not? We've all seen all these found footage films, so is this scary? We'll talk about it because now we're just so experienced now.
I think we've kind of touched base on it.
Well, I have thoughts on it, but
Oh.
so Claire, I know you've seen it now, but what did you know about the movie going in before you watched it?
I knew it was super popular. and I knew that like all the things we talked about, kind of about the marketing behind it and how people thought it was real at the time it came out. I knew it's like basically a story of these kids going into the woods and there's a witch, and that's kind of it. And like some creepy shit happens clearly. But yeah, that's like kind of the gist of what I knew. But I didn't know. I actually listened to a podcast talk about this this movie, like I want to say a year and a half ago, but I really didn't remember anything about it when I started watching it, like all the little creepy weird shit that happens. Oh, and I knew the end was supposed to be like crazy.
Twist
So
turn.
parodied by us.
Yes.
We have some memories about parodying that sort of.
I have pictures.
And many.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
How do you
Good times.
wait? How did you parody? Or should we save it for the end? Or
Well,
No, we can do. We
We
can.
We could kind of.
could say.
I'm just curious. How did you parody? Okay,
I would love to
We'll
tell you
share
that
it.
story, Claire.
So excited.
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I am too.
So, the Rotten Tomatoes scores is 86%, audience is 56, and Google is 81. And I was shocked by the 56. Guy, I
I'm
see you made a
shocked.
shocked face as well.
I'm shocked by the 56
Truly.
by the audience. I feel like this is more beloved, but I guess not.
I feel like Rotten Tomatoes.
it basically goes
audience
to
scored
do you
sucks.
like, and I think it just goes like, if you were just to tree it, do you like horror? Yes, be like Blair Witch. Do you not like horror? No, we do not like Blair Witch. Is like just a straight tree. So either you like horror or you don't like horror. I don't know if there are too many people in the world that are like into horror and then don't like Blair Witch, which is kind of bizarre to me, but we can come down to that if any of you have a whack thought.
I don't think it's horror. I think it's found footage versus not found footage. I think some people can't stomach
Yeah.
found footage.
Oh, do you think that's what it is? Oh, that's fair.
It's shaky. This is very shaky.
Shaky
Like,
cam.
grainy.
Y'all are built
Gritty.
different.
Oh yeah, like apparently when the movie came out, like people puked in the theaters when they first
Right.
saw it.
Oh, nausea.
Can't stomach it.
Yeah. So like I think it's that, and then like maybe just even some horror people are like, oh, it's not scary. So like, you know. But
They
anyway,
just didn't feel it, man. They're just gonna get
It feels a little
into it.
disrespectful.
That's just
I think so too. I think it's very disrespectful.
Like it may not be scary, but I can understand that it had a cultural impact on people.
So the actors are Ray Hance, Michael Williams, and Joshua Leonard, all who used their real names at the time during the film. So none of us knew any of them, I'm sure.
yeah, and I don't
because
think
this is
any
kind
of
their
them
only,
did anything else afterwards.
not much.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And the final sort of question is, what were your expectations going into this?
So I expected it to be like a good time, honestly. Like, and I wasn't really afraid going into it. I feel like if I had watched it when it came out originally, I probably would have been really afraid of it, but I didn't expect to be that afraid. I was more like, I had a lot of anxiety because I just felt bad for them the entire time. I was like, man, I really hope they find some help or like do something, but they you know,
They didn't.
But yeah,
This is like, the more we talk about it, it's like,
I was like, do I spoil it? Yeah.
Hey, this is a podcast of
Um,
spoilies. You can't be listening without
without
being
no.
spoilies.
Spoilies
Right.
only.
Right. But yeah, I really, really wanted to watch this just because like I've been on a horror / found footage to like kick. And it felt like a rite of passage. Like I'm like, I should watch this movie just so I can say that I watched it.
I love that you have the respect for that to say that. Like, this is just one of those movies you have to watch whether you like it or don't. If you like horror.
Yeah.
Real quick question. What were your guys', if you can remember them, like first horror movies?
Chucky, Jaws. That's not really horror, is it?
That's fair. If
Jaws
it
can't.
scares you, you can consider it horror. I think that's my rule. You know,
E.T. for Ketzel.
I was gonna say
See?
E.T. the extraterrestrial for me.
What's the Dark Crystal movie? That one
that is
yeah.
the Dark Crystal. It would
with the puppets.
Uncanny Valley stuff.
That's early. I mean, The Ring definitely was probably the first technically like scary movie I ever watched, but some of that early 90s, those early 90s kids movies could be considered horror.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Silence surely fucked me up.
I think mine was Pet Cemetery.
Pet
My
Sematary.
mom
was, like,
loves
the
that
first.
movie.
But like the movie, I know the movie. I can't think of like a horror movie that scared me. But I do remember some early ones that I was like, ooh, spooky. And it's weird because I think I got into like horror movies a lot later than y'all. But like Jeepers Creepers and Darkness Falls, and they're so bizarre. Like they're not even like big ones. So like
Yeah.
those were probably like my earliest memories of horror movies and like watching those. But,
I think
like,
the other one that really fucked me up too, which is along the lines of The Ring, was The Grudge for me. And I actually rewatched that recently as an adult, and I was like, this is fine. I've gone through so much in life and also seen scarier movies that this is fine. This is a piece of cake.
I've never seen both of those.
They're fine.
we should do a
I
back
watched
to
The
back.
Ring.
Scary movie parodied it enough for me.
Yeah.
Yes, to know.
Yeah. It really wasn't until Scary Movie parodied Rain that I was like, I think I'm over it. I think I'm good now. But I still haven't watched it since.
I was going
It's
to
'cause they
say,
made it funny.
I watched it 2 weeks ago for the first time since I was a child, and I felt so brave because I was not scared. I'm like, I did it.
Aw.
It was great.
job,
I loved
Pencil.
it. And I watched the original.
It's probably because the situation, like I was by myself watching it too.
Oh
Like,
my God.
I was watching it with my dad at the time, and I won't say what happens just because like I don't want to spoil it, but
Spoil
there's
away.
a part where it's no, I don't. There's a
haven't
part where
seen
you
it.
just like think that it might be over. And so my dad was like, okay, I'm going to go leave the house and you'll be fine. And it wasn't over. And yeah, I'll leave it at that.
That's horrible.
Yep. So I was by myself. I think I was like 13 at the time it came out. So pretty young.
Old enough to know danger, but too young to be like, I need my parents.
And the real fucked up thing was after it was over, you know if you watched the movie, but my telephone rang. And I was just like, no, thank you.
Guess I'm going off the grid now.
Goes straight to voicemail, turns off.
I am never going outside. Yeah.
But in the chat, if you
I
noticed,
remember
I dropped
this.
something in there.
Yeah.
If you'd like to take a look right now and at your own leisure in this moment and let me know. I think it's like just a couple minutes.
I remember this. No, thank you. I shall be watching this later.
Oh my God.
So like Cartoon Network honestly truly did parody Blair Witch Project for Scooby-Doo, and I just don't know what they were thinking because like that is horrifying. Cartoon Network as a channel did not even exist until like 1992 or something. So they were like, I don't know, almost 10 years into their networking stuff, and they did this type of shit. But they did be put in some questionable cartoons.
They
all up
put
in there.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, which traumatized me every night.
I love Courage.
And yet
I
I would
love
still watch it
Courage.
every single night.
I love Courage. That was the first horror.
For you.
That was the first one.
That was the first time
And that
I
is
was
the first time I
scared.
felt fear.
But like clearly we see a lot of this like influence here. But I did want to share that with you guys. You can watch it at your leisure later. But just know that exists, and it came to me on Facebook, and I was just like, oh my God, because they truly wanted to remind the children that they traumatize them. The end.
Woohoo.
Remember when we fucked y'all up?
Not once, not twice,
But Menti.
many times.
Usually with that, we shall go watch the film. But we already did watch the film. So, here's a break for our sponsors. Which are none.
Where are
So
you
there's no
sponsors?
break.
Truly?
Truly, Shudder, anyone. Let me...
Oreos.
or
Pepperidge
I
Farm.
refuse. If Oreo said, let me sponsor your podcast,
Then
I
you
would
can
say
leave.
no.
Then you'd be off the podcast.
Oh me, oh my.
You can just take the money. You don't have to believe in their mission.
And I shall. I do want to fuck with a. I do want to fuck a cakester though. I'll fuck that shit right up. I want to try.
No,
that.
you don't get to. You don't
No.
get to have a cake.
You don't get
I'll
to
make
have
you
that if
eat.
you say bad things about Oreos.
I'll make you eat 3 double stuffed Oreos before you're allowed to have a cakester.
I will die.
Oreos come gluten free. They're widely accepted by most people.
This is the ad
Well,
break.
not most people. This is the ad break. Claire,
Oreos
do you
sponsor
like
us.
Chips Ahoy or Oreos?
Don't bring Claire into
Oreos.
this.
I'm bringing her
Okay,
in.
just
I'm
kidding.
sorry. I'm sorry. I know. I mean, I don't discriminate. A cookie's a cookie. I love a cookie, but I do love Oreos more. Sorry. I'm not on your good side.
You've brought Austin Powers into my life. You're an Oreo apologist. We're back. We never left. So, see if you can remember what were your immediate reactions after watching Blair Witch. Was it fear? Was it satisfaction? Was it joy? Was it tears?
It was joy that I had watched it, and then I felt like I said, did that rite of passage. I don't think it was that scary, but there were definitely times where I thought that I was gonna get a jump scare or something, and so I was waiting for that, and then it never happened, and I was torturing me. So the end definitely. I have a little bit of mixed feelings about the end,
Oop.
but overall, I'm really glad I watched this, and like I said, I was more anxiety driven than scared at the time I was watching it.
Yeah, she is a psychological thriller, really. Kind of like Saw. Not even that much blood, but it really messed with you. What you didn't see scared you more.
Mm-hmm.
Dahlia,
That's what
I
it
like
was.
anytime you bring up Saw now. Makes me happy.
You know, that was my rite of passage, so now I'm a little horror movie fan.
Okay, Jigsaw.
I am Jigsaw. Any one of us could be a murderer. They look just like everybody else.
Some of us are more obvious than others.
Wink.
Wonk.
Wonk.
All right.
Anyway, let's dive in.
This,
I'll
you know,
read it.
it's so funny. I was just listening to Killer Clowns, and I was put on the helm there forcibly, and I was going like this the whole time.
I don't
Baby,
think anybody
let
forced
me
you.
let
You
you
just took it and ran.
Let me
It
take
took-
the wheel.
I took it and said, "Gotta come catch me." Go
Let me
ahead,
help
Dahlia.
you. Let me take the wheel.
Thanks.
Here we go. Okay, so let's set it up, guys. In October of 1994, film students Heather, Mike, and Josh set out to make a documentary about the Blair Witch. Ooh. And they traveled to Burkittsville, Maryland, and interview the residents about the legend. And then I think as I was reading, because I was doing a lot of research, the Burkittsville used to be called Blair, or somewhere nearby was called Blair. So that's why it's called the Blair Witch. So here's a little bit of the backstory on the legend. So Rustin Parr, a hermit who lived in the woods and kidnapped 7 children in the 40s, he supposedly killed them all in his basement. He murdered them in pairs, and one was always standing in the corner facing the wall. Later on, another part of the legend, a young girl named Robin Weaver went missing in 1888. And she returned 3 days later, and she was muttering something about an old woman whose feet never touched the ground. And then also, another story, 5 men were found ritualistically murdered in the 19th century. I think they were hand and feet bound. They were disemboweled, and the bodies later disappeared from that area, which is really, really spooky. And I don't know how you guys feel about this. I feel like there was so much of different stories that didn't really connect exactly. I think the kids were also murdered and disemboweled too. So I think that there's the connection there. But I don't know. How do you guys feel about all these different stories coming together to make the legend?
I think they're spooky. I like the young girl one. Always gives me like a little bit of goosebumps because I don't know why that's creepy to me. Like having her come back and being like, "There's an old woman whose feet never touch the ground." That shit's scary.
It is. That's spooky. Like, any part.
That's
like,
scary.
Just the different parts of these, and you're not supposed to know which one really is like part of the situation before you start. Is part of the world building of this, and like you don't know what the actual legend of the Blair Witch is. You just know that there's something out there, and it's scary.
Yeah. I mean, also let it be known during the movie, they're like interviewing a bunch of people. So like, yeah, every little story comes out from different people. So you're like, who do we believe? And then I was reading some articles and one of them called like some of the people country bumpkins. And I thought that was not nice. I'm like, why would you say that? So what if they live out in the woods? That's not nice. You can't say that.
Right.
Why are you living there then?
Rude.
I heard that I didn't say heard, I read. No one told me this. I read that the like Heather, Josh, and Mike legitimately thought they were like interviewing them about like a local legend, but they were like, some of them like made up the story on the spot, and then some of them were actually actors that like the directors didn't tell them were actors. They really were. They were out here playing games.
I love that.
I would never sign up for that. No, never in my life.
So some of them were made up and some of them were like scripted.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. This just goes to show like the disparity and how well that this was put together and how it looks the way it is, but there's so much more depth behind it.
This just goes to
The
show
mystery.
manipulating your actors is the way to go.
It is.
Sometimes manipulation
Chef's kiss.
works.
Makes art.
It makes art.
It's for the art.
Oh, Lord.
So if method acting is pretending you're the character, what is it when you're messing with the actor? Like the opposite of that. Like method acting is when like you take on the character like completely. What if you like change the world so that way the actor has to like mold to the world? That's crazy.
Like,
Is it called sliving?
Gaslighting.
Gaslighting. Oh my
Unethical.
God. For the art, I don't know if there's ethics. Art before ethics.
Again, they couldn't get away with this shit today. Let me tell you. So, I wouldn't do it. Anyway, so they're like interviewing all these people. They have all these rumors, and then they're like, there was these guys fishing that they were interviewing. They're like, the river where that girl drowned or whatever is right over there. And so they go.
I like your Maryland accent, Dahlia. Very good.
I like your country bumpkin accent, Dahlia.
I know it's the East Coast. I'm sorry. I know, Claire, you're from the East Coast. I don't mean to be like that. Okay. But like they were like, hey, literally the river is right over there where that girl drowned. And they're like, let's go. So then they're like drinking at night in their motel, trying to work up the courage. They go out the next day, get out of their car, hike into the woods with all their camping gear. And I'm like, right. And they have a compass and they have a map. And that's it. So I think they're trying to look for like that Rustin Parr part of the legend, like his house or something. So they're walking in the woods, they're following the map, and then somehow it starts like raining or something, so they end up camping for the night, as one does when you walk into the spookiest forest where the Blair Witch lives, but that's besides the point. So they camp for the night. And the next day, they find a cemetery with 7 small cairns, which are rock mounds. And I did look this up. I think it's from Ireland. It's Scottish. And
Scotland.
they're
Gaelic.
used for a variety of purposes.
They're grave markers.
Yes, they're burial mounds. So there was 7 of them. And I think like there was 7 people in that party of those guys or something, I don't know, they got killed on the rocks.
I thought we said 5.
That was spooky.
5. Is 7 the
kidding.
kids?
5.
7 is the kids.
There you go. That could be it because it was 7 kids.
It was 7 children.
And
Antonio's saving us.
And so they're filming that shit and they're like, wow, this is so scary and so spooky. And then motherfucking Josh kicks a Karen over. Big mistake.
I would have done so accidentally.
And you would have ended
I
up
would've.
getting a whole bunch of troglodytes to come after you.
So you
slime
die
on your
first.
shit.
Why troglodytes, though?
Bone tomahawk. That's what happened. That's the whole reason they came out of the.
Yeah. You want to talk whack movies, bro? Bone Tomahawk. I'm saying that. I need every listener to go listen and watch and see that movie, please.
Oh,
We're coming out of Blair Witch with a lot of movies to watch.
I think I have to disconnect.
Are you going to leave and come
I'm
back?
gonna leave and come back. Sorry. No, stop recording. Do not stop recording.
Okay.
Do not stop.
Now that
recording.
they're gone. Now that he's gone.
Oh,
Now that he's
fuck.
gone, let's talk some shit about Antonio.
He
First
came
of
in too
all-
quick.
What were you gonna say?
Hi.
Say it to my face. You know the Addy. Pull up.
Coming over.
Not the Addy.
I was reading.
Don't ever say that to me ever
I
again.
actually. Oh my god. That was another cold open. I was like, I know a lot of people hate the word moist. Are there any words you guys hate?
Well, you can't
Anyway,
I'm so
just
sorry.
drop that.
I'm so sorry. No, I hate that word. I hate Addy. But I was reading last night about like the Lana Del Rey Azalea Banks thing. Most bizarre. I know it's the most bizarre hole to go down. But I saw the tweets and Lana Del Rey goes, "Pull up. You know the Addy. But if I was you, I wouldn't." Or something like that. This is the most bizarre fucking like tweet strand I've ever seen.
and for those of you, if this makes it in the podcast, Addie
Oh,
means
well.
a dress.
I hate that.
So there we are. Anyway, back to the
But-
Seven Small Cairns.
I love Lana Del Rey's role in the Blair Witch Project.
Oh, she
I
should have
was
been a
gonna
switch.
ask- that part. I was gonna ask if you guys, you know how usually in a horror movie, if the fucking characters are pieces of shit, you're like, I'm glad you're dying. And I feel like
Yes.
they're not likable, but you still care about them. So I was wondering if you guys found them annoying or not.
I found them very annoying
I
when I
absolutely
rewatched it.
found them
I
very
felt
annoying.
like it was just desserts by
Yes.
the end.
Antonio, you can't
Everybody was
say
pissing
that.
me off by the end.
Yeah. Claire, what did you think of Heather in general?
Oh, I wrote one of my notes is "goddamn Heather." So I think that pretty much sums it up. But yeah, like I think they talk about how like it's vaguely dropped that they were lost, kind of like got lost the first day, but then she got them back on track, and she's like, it's fine, we're good. Like I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, and then they're lost like the next day. And I was really pissed because she was so laissez-faire about it. And then, so I think Mike was like the one really harping on it. And she was like, didn't you agree to do this project? And that really irked me. That was like, yeah, but you know, he said I agreed to do a scouted project. So yeah. Oh, and then there was another thing, like I wrote, what kind of a documentarian is she? She didn't even listen to Mary Brown, who we didn't mention, but she didn't even remember what Mary Brown said about piles of rocks.
She
Right.
did
That could've
say
been
that.
really
Yes,
helpful
she
for them.
did.
She's like, oh, I
And
thought
then
she
they
was
fucking
crazy.
kicked it over.
Mm-hmm. I also like with Mary Brown, not to go back just for a second,
back.
but like the fact of her like describing the witch as a woman, hairy from head to toe, like in full
Half
horsehair. I
animal.
was just like, mm-hmm.
You know, I forgot about that.
Dude.
You know, I remembered them saying it, but I don't even remember the interview with Mary Brown.
She said she had hair on her body like a horse, but she could tell she was female. So I was like, okay, what does that mean?
She had titties.
Plainly.
Duh. Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Especially because, like, in the 2016 version, you see her.
See, that's also why I'm like the
Oh.
2016 one. I'm like, y'all
It's
tried to
terrible.
do something
It's like,
that you
no.
can't do.
You should have just left it right here, man.
That's
That's
what makes it so
so
scary
Should've-
and
You
great.
guys just said almost the same thing at the same time. That's because
It's
you
like-
guys share the same brain cell.
We do.
Anyway,
No.
It's not even full. It's a half
at
brain
night.
cell.
At night when Heather's like, "Oh my god, no, we're not lost." That night, they hear the sound of twigs snapping, and of course, it is very unsettling. The sound editing in this, we'll talk about it, but very unsettling. So, here we are, the next day. So, again, Heather is like, yeah, I got the map. And then they try to hike back to the car, but they still cannot find their way out of these goddamn woods. And it looks so tiny and dumb to just walk all up in there, but they're still so lost. And they can't find their car before dark. So, they have to make camp again. And then again, they hear twigs snapping, and that is totally not fun because now it's all the way the fuck around them, and they're like, eep. And in the morning when they wake up, they find 3 cairns have been built around their tents. And if that doesn't say get out, spell it out in the sky.
There's so
You can't
many
get out.
reasons to
You are
never
out.
go into a forest.
Did you guys
Right.
camp? Because I camped as a child, so this was not it for me, Mama.
I did not camp as a child.
camp as an adult.
I've never been camping, and I will never go camping. So that's that on that.
You're gonna have to be something special if I'm going camping with you.
Is there a lot of camping grounds in Indiana?
I wouldn't know because I don't go. But
Clever girl.
I don't leave my house. There's like a national forest around here somewhere, so I would imagine, yeah. And there's like a few different parks that people can camp at with like RV campers, not like, I mean, they could go with a tent, but I've seen RVs a lot more. Yeah, no, like I did Girl Scout camp, and then like one year our troop leader thought it would be fun to go camping in November. And here, November's like 30 degrees at night, so it was awful. And I will never go camping again.
I was gonna say it makes sense if everybody is in RVs because there's no way I'm gonna be. You're not gonna catch me camping on the ground in November.
No.
Oof.
Dang. I can't fathom. I don't know if we were going to bring this up later, Sky, but like, at least for us, unless you went camping, you didn't really, like, we didn't see trees in Vegas. There's no trees, you know? But like, you said that like your aunt saw this at like,
Yeah, my aunt used to live in Washington, Pacific Northwest, and when this came out, she saw it in theaters with their friend, and like the movie theater in the part where she lived is like 20 minutes away, and you have to drive through like dark forest like on each side of the road. And afterwards she was driving home and she was like, it was the scariest drive home ever because it's just pitch black except for, you know, in front of you with the headlights. And I cannot fathom after watching this movie.
120 miles per hour, Mama.
Do you think the Blair Witch could like keep pace with a car?
That's terrible.
She floats, dude. She fucking floats. You think she's like sprinting on the ground? Maybe if she's in her animal form. And apparently she has many forms too. She's like
she's
a
Sonic.
floating, levitating lady. Is she Sonic?
I remember. I thought
basically.
in 2016 she's like, is she like a crawler or what the hell? Like, no,
She takes
Sky
many
refuses
forms.
to acknowledge it.
I don't remember.
She takes many forms, is what I kept reading online. But
I think she could keep up with a car.
Yeah,
I think she could keep up with the car.
I assume that it's like a gallop, like she
unfortunately.
gallops and just like overtakes a car, you know. So if they ever make a third one, and
Don't say gallop.
yeah, that's what I assume that it would be like, based off. I remember the 20.
You heard the word horse,
yeah.
and you went
I
gallop.
went, she gallops to chase you down.
and she whinnies too.
Does it sound like this?
Oh yeah,
That's horrifying.
there you go. Thank you.
So dumb. Okay. Next morning, 3 Karens. We're McFrickin' losing it. Heather learns that the map is missing. And, you know, again, Heather and Mike are, like, fighting the most. And Mike is like, oh, yeah, so, like, I kicked it into the fucking creek out of frustration. Boy, why the fuck? You're already lost. Are you an idiot? Like, I got so mad at Mike at this point. I remember watching in the first time I saw it. I was like, what the fuck are you doing, Mike? Like, he pissed me the fuck off so hard. Like, it was Mike and then Heather and then Josh. Because Josh was kind of just, like, there.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, like, useless.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Josh. I didn't like any of them.
Yeah.
Josh still wanted cigarettes.
You know-
That's all he wanted.
I swear, if anyone were to make that decision to like kick the map into the creek or get rid of it or tear it up or something, I'd be like, this is where we part ways, buddy. You got to figure out your own shit. I'm gonna figure out my own shit. We're
Yeah.
done.
You're done.
You're clearly a liability.
You're done.
Yeah. I was like, come again? Like, it's just stupid because he's laughing and he was like, ha 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 ha. I'm so sorry. This is really fucked up, but I kicked the map into the creek yesterday. And they all are like, wait, what? Are you fucking kidding? And then he was like, the map wasn't doing shit. It was useless. And they were like, it was useless to you. And I was really pissed off at Mike at that point. That's when all my hatred from Heather went to Mike in that scene.
And she's just like all distraught. I remember that. That's like the one part of the movie that I can probably remember like clearly is her calling him a fucking asshole like 100 times over. And it's just so realistic. Like I was like, what else are you gonna say aside from you're a fucking asshole? You know, you just keep saying that until eventually, you know,
it was so intense.
he melts in front of you.
She was real good acting there. I would say, here's the thing though, not to be a Mike apologist, but they couldn't read the maps. They were already lost. It was kind of useless.
So
Josh
good
knew.
to know that you're a Mike apologist.
I'm just saying it was useless, and they're gonna
You
go in
are
circles
gonna
anyway.
be that person I have to leave behind because you're gonna do some stupid shit. Like,
Dude, we're just gonna tie you up to the tree and be like, have them. Leave us alone. Have
Hey,
them.
At least if you do that and you go around in a circle, you'll know if you pass by Ketzel again.
Hey guys,
You'll be our marker. Hey, how you doing?
you're still alive.
are you
You
two?
two still living?
Still living. There you go. Thank you, the Grinch.
Tis the
Claire,
season.
I completely agree. Josh, he just like let things happen. Anything for a Siggy, right?
Antonio.
Not a Siggy.
Oh yeah.
That is me. After a hike, I'm like, yeah, I want a cigarette now. I've done enough healthy stuff.
I've breathed in too much fresh air for the day.
Mike kicking the map into the creek. Isn't that kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Descent when that bitch leaves the map in the car, right? Or something?
No.
Or what is
No,
it?
no,
She
no.
like takes them.
It's like
No, so
I
the
don't
problem
remember.
with the descent
I only
was,
watched it once.
So the problem with the descent was Homegirl took them to a completely different cave. So the map was already useless to start with. So leaving the map in the car wasn't a useless fact because having the map still would have been useless because they're in a completely different cave that's never been explored. So
That
So
was a
it's,
good
but it's
fucking
still
film.
along the lines of, why? Why do that?
dishonesty.
Yeah.
You won't catch me in a cave.
You won't catch me in the woods. You won't catch me in the
you
cave.
won't catch
No,
me
thank you.
anywhere that doesn't have cement.
Yeah.
If there's no asphalt
I've
or
seen Twin
cement,
Peaks.
I'm not gonna
Or
be there.
Wi-Fi.
I will live without Wi-Fi, but if there's no cement like within like viewing distance, you will not see me. But no. So I think it's kind of worse in a way because at least with the map, there's a chance of redemption, and so him kicking the map is particularly stupid. Whereas like the other one, it was just stupid to go somewhere that hasn't been explored without like any sort of backup like at all. Like
But
no
it's
one
stupid.
knew.
Right.
Stupid is stupid is
He
stupid.
he had a compass,
I think
but it don't mean it was
there are
working.
degrees of stupid. Are we going to debate if there are degrees of stupid?
There's you could call them idiots. Like I feel like there's like a level,
Yeah, there are
like-
different levels of stupid.
Yeah, I was also pissed at Mike because I feel like he gaslit Heather a little bit when everyone thought Heather lost the map.
Oh
And she
yeah.
was like, I had it. And he went, you really don't have it. And at the time he knew he had already gotten rid of the map.
Men.
Yeah,
what a
was
piece
up
of
with
shit.
that?
He's a piece of
Was
fucking
you think
shit.
he was being like controlled already, or like he was just
That-
being?
No,
a
he's
fucking
just
I
an
asshole?
wondered.
But don't give him that much credit that he's being controlled. He was an idiot. We've already
I don't even like him,
we've
dude.
established that
I'm
none
not
of
trying
these,
to be nice to him.
we've established that these three characters are all like terrible. But we're trying to figure out whether they're so terrible that it was deserved.
I don't think it was deserved. They tried.
Yeah.
They did everything
Yeah,
like
they
you
did
would
try.
do.
They weren't doing anything
But-
like, malicious. No malicious intent.
Right.
I mean, nothing helped them though because they kept fucking walking, and I guess Mike still had his compass or whatever. So they go south instead. They're like, "We've been going north way too much. We're gonna go south." And I'm just like, groundbreaking, fantastic, amazing, best decision ever. And then as they are walking, they discover all these horrifying stick figures just like suspended from trees, just oot and a boot, hanging out in this little foresty area that literally I'm just like heavy breathing. So It's awful. Of course,
This
they're
is
still
my most
lost.
chilling part. This is my most chilling part. I remember when I watched this with Sky, like rewatched it, and when we were teens, when this part came on, it's just fucking full body chills. The fucking stick figures. I cannot with them.
They're iconic.
So you would never want to see them again. I went to a Halloween party and they had Blair Witch stick figures everywhere as you walked into
That's
the
such
foyer.
a good idea for like
A prank.
decoration.
Oh, I was gonna go to the prank.
You're gonna put
The
some
next
curse
time
on
Q is
yourself.
over here,
Yeah.
and sleeping, we'll just pin some up against the fucking like ceiling or something, just for fun.
You could put little handprints all over
Yep.
the wall.
They already had handprints in their bathroom.
With like buddy prints.
Oh, that's fun. Does it make you guys feel better to know the giant stick figure was nicknamed Chewie, like Chewbacca from Star Wars?
Aw, it
That's
does.
adorable.
Why would they name that? What is the connection?
It big.
It's not logical to me.
It big.
Because it's furry. It's big and furry.
Is big. Is
What
big.
more
girl.
connection do you need? It's big.
It was furry? It's like it had fur on it?
It looked a little. Did it not look furry to you all? I thought it looked like it was like not like actual fur,
Like the
but like
Twiggies.
the,
Yeah.
little bristles.
Like the
Just the
bark
way the light
was
hit
like
it.
peeling or something like that.
No, I didn't get that at all.
Well, I appreciate it. I think
do
that's
too.
cute.
That is cute.
A charming thing. But they're
Yeah, charmed.
also forced they're also forced to camp again because they're fucking lost, and then they hear strange shit at night. There's fucking children laughing, so then you're just like, oh god, please stop. And then the tent starts fucking shaking and it's absolute chaos. They book it. They're like fight or flight. They're fucking fleeing, and then they hide in the woods until dawn. And as I was doing research on this movie, apparently, again, as Claire was saying in the beginning, like they just kind of left them to their own thing. And the directors, they just came up upon the tent and they started shaking it without telling them. They didn't know that was happening. And so their absolute horror while they're filming inside of the tent is true, because they didn't know that was happening to them right before it happened. Like, you cannot sign me up for this shit. Like, no one can do this ever again. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I could see
Crazy.
why it causes nausea though. If it was like a realistic like run, just like book it for your life sort of situation, I could see why that would cause some nausea.
Mom, I would have lied right back down like this. That just started shaking.
We
I'm not
been
getting
knew
up.
that.
I'm
If anyone has ever listened to this podcast and heard about like whether or not you will die in a horror movie or not, this will be the hopefully the last time anyone has to say
Ketzel will lay down and die.
Ketzel is already ready to die right now. Like
Ketzel's
before.
already asleep. Ketzel never woke up with his head shook.
You're like
Y'all hear something?
back to sleep.
I honestly feel like it was safer to stay in the
Yeah,
tent, to be honest.
they would have
Like,
run after
I
y'all.
think so too.
I would have stayed asleep.
I would just stayed
Was it-
inside and
Also,
prayed.
hey,
You risk getting cold all the way at night.
is there a movie where the tent
Yeah.
gets completely like ripped up and someone goes along with it?
Yes.
Is it Ritual?
Yes. I think it happens in Blair Witch 2016.
Is that which one it is? Because I'm trying to think of what happens in that movie, and I'm trying to like actively like uncover the blackout that I've created over most of it. There
I
only
think
maybe
that
like
happens in.
I know one girl gets yanked away, but that's just because I saw the trailer. That's it.
yanked. Oh, I remember. Oh, yeah, I got you. Yeah, when they show what
Yanked?
happens with yanked, as in like I was like, she doesn't get pulled away. She gets basically it's voodoo dolled with the stick figures.
Ooh.
Ew.
Oh, that was good. I love that scene.
That's like
less.
the only thing that's good about that movie.
Yeah, again, they wake up in the fucking morning. Here we are, lost again. Why are we still lost? They realize they've been walking around in a circle because they come upon the same fucking landmark they saw before.
It's the same
Horrible.
log. That's not the same
And-
log, is it?
It's Ketzel
That's
tied
the
to a tree
same
again.
And so they're like, oop. Josh disappears the next morning and they fucking cannot find him. And then that evening, because they're still fucking lost, they hear his screams at night. Like, it's awful. And so we're just kind of like crossing ourselves like, Rip Girly. You're done. I mean, he was pretty useless anyway, so like, are we really that sad?
Are any of them useful?
The next day,
No. That's a
good
question.
storytelling. But the next day they wake up and they find a bundle of sticks tied with fabric from Josh's shirt, and it's bloodied. And then inside this disgusting bloodied bundle is teeth, hair, a finger, and a large piece of his tongue. Mama.
I didn't see the finger or the tongue.
I just saw a lot of like red going
Everywhere
on.
I read.
I'm just like, and what a bizarre assortment
I saw
of like
teeth.
pieces. Like, how do you go about choosing which part of a person to like give back to their friends?
Oh man, where do I begin? Where do I begin?
The horrifying parts to give to your friends to let them know that you're unalived is those pieces.
Those pieces.
A fingy for sure.
A fingy?
A fingy
You can
for
live without
sure.
a fingy. I think I would go with like the scalp.
Antonio, that's disgusting. Clearly, you've seen Cannibal Holocaust that I've never
Cannibal-
seen.
Claire, thank you so much for joining us today.
Like you could, like a person could live without their finger. You chop off someone's finger, it could be like, oh, that
If I
person's
get
still alive.
If I get a scalp in the mail, I don't know who it came from.
I'm like, I know this wig from anywhere.
Exactly. That's how it goes. You gotta snatch the wigs.
Snatched. That's extreme snatching.
Oh, mama.
Oh.
Do you think this like sparked the fear of like your teeth falling out?
Have you guys had dreams like that?
Have you ever had a dream where
Ever had it?
Stop it. I actually don't really have teeth
I have.
dreams, but if I have like teeth
Yes,
horror,
I don't have teeth.
Period.
I have teeth. I have teeth. Yes, I do.
I mean, anything teeth is just horrifying. I mean, I don't know if it sparked the fear of teeth, like, you know, being given back. I'm sure there's other instances in cinema where that's happened, but like, I don't know. When it's like fleshy bits, like anything to do with like bone, I'm just like, like I don't want to know like how they chopped it off to get it to where it was in the bundle of sticks. That's what grosses me out the most. I'm just like, ugh.
It's a friend
So not really
bundle.
the teeth exactly.
I think for me it's eyes. Like whenever there's like body horror with eyes, I cannot deal with that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good one.
Clearly. And then this is the part where we get
Now we got
Heather's famous recording. How do you feel about that, guys? What was your feelings as you watched that the first time? What did you think of it? Was it impactful enough?
I felt bad for her because I was like, oh, I don't think she notices that it's zoomed up so close to her face.
Didn't think about it like that.
Because you could just see right up her nostrils and all of that, not drippy snot coming out. I think it's probably because I saw it parodied in Scary Movie first that I was just kind of like, oh, hee hee, this is the part. But yeah.
It desensitized you a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I feel bad for them. I have feelings, don't get me wrong, but yeah, I was just kind of like couldn't stop thinking about the parody.
For me, this is the poster, right? That like, it's her Heather, you know, on there. And the poster freaked me out so bad, like every time I would see it. So like this scene still gives me it just gives me chills. And she's a great actress and everything, but it just always freaked me out. It's always what I associate with the movie is that still of her face, and it freaked me out as a kid. I
mean,
real quick want to share something because I think I was so freaked out by this scene that around this, my brother recently shared the story with Sky, much to my embarrassment, is that when I watched Blair Witch as a child, my brother was like, oh yeah, they were crying and they were saying, I saw her, I saw the witch. And it's like, well, you don't see shit, Katsu. But I was convinced that I had seen the witch. And I think partly I thought like Heather was the witch because it freaked me out. I was thinking about this. But I was convinced I saw the witch, and my family was like, the fuck? You saw nothing?
trauma, mama.
I mean, when you're a kid, you just imagine things, and maybe you did see it, and no one else could.
No, don't say
This
that.
is why
No, don't say all that.
Oh, Antonio, don't even go there, dude. This is like the fucking Conjuring 2 episode with that kid picture. Sometimes I look at our stuff and I'm just like, I'm haunted.
Kid
Remember,
picture.
Sky, you shared that photo of the Conjuring when
the Amityville house?
Yeah, the
was it Ed and
Amityville, like,
Lorraine?
you know,
Yes.
basis
I'm
off
like,
of it.
what kid picture?
I know. I was like,
But I mean, for me, I think that scene was really impactful. I think it was mostly just like scary because she didn't know that was like gonna be it for her, and the whole remorse thing. Like she'd been, I mean, at the same time, Heather had been so strong this entire time, trying to be like, I'm not lost. Like we're not lost. Trying to keep the movie going, right? As any documentary person would, a filmmaker. Like you really want to see these things come to fruition. I think she, in her heart of hearts, believed that they were going to make it out of this. Even though she was completely horrified, she still kept filming. And like, I don't know, you got to have like a lot of like tenacity to continue doing that, I would have probably stopped, It's not even for like shits and giggles anymore. It's like documenting your last moments. And I don't think she knew it was her last moments. I think she was just like, if we get out of this is going to be the most amazing story ever told. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But I like that. I think it was also like really good sound editing that we'll get into later. But it was just like so quiet and close. It's like in your ear. I feel like if you watch this movie with like headphones, like Dolby surround sound, like type of shit, I would be fucked up by this. I can see why people were horrified in the before times in the theaters.
Yeah, I feel like I had to turn my volume up like a few times, especially during the night scenes when you're supposed to hear stuff in the woods, and just to like be able to hear what they were hearing, and then definitely is spooky.
Yeah, I had to rewind. Rewatching, I did rewind a couple times. I'm like, let me hear the swigs. Let me hear the swigs one more time.
Did anybody else think like maybe like this is the thing where Ketzel, you said where you thought you like had seen the witch, but it's like how it's framed. There's just like a black spot kind of like on next to her head, and then she starts to look up and she's like, what is that? That was one moment where I was like, there's gonna be a jump scare and it's gonna fuck me up.
So there was a witch.
There wasn't. I thought there might be.
I saw blackness too.
I don't know.
There
watched that
There
scene.
might have been a witch. So
There
my
might-
family laughed at me for no reason.
Blair was there.
Blair is inside all of us.
Oh, Blair Witch.
Oh, Blair.
Oh, you.
Anyway, they hear Josh scream and they find an abandoned house full of demonic symbols and children's bloody handprints on the walls.
Nice.
my favorite.
Hate that.
I was thinking the same.
So you mean another Chuck E. Cheese?
Charles
Got him.
Entertainment Cheese says that's my only decor. They go into the basement and something attacks Mike. He's like filming the whole time and he's like, what's happening? And then he drops the camera and is like, I hate that. I hated that. And then fucking Heather comes in next with her fucking camera. And then she is just like, what happened? And she sees fucking Mike in the corner facing the wall like the kids. And I'm like, oh God, oh geez, oh God, oh geez. And then something attacks her, causing her to drop her camera. And that's it. That's the end. Haunted.
I'm in
Mic
the
drop.
corner watching you kiss her.
Oh.
Thoughts?
I wrote Mike be a dumbass because I was just like, why would you go in the
Why would you go into any
Just
structure you
why?
found in the woods ever? Like, if anything, if you're in the
True,
woods
yeah.
and you come across something and you don't know what it is, you leave. You, in fact, make your way downtown.
I don't like abandoned buildings. Mm-mm.
Abandoned building.
I'm like, abandoned building? I'm like, no.
Isolated
in the-
buildings. Doesn't even have to be abandoned. It could be people. They could be cannibals out there.
Troglodytes, even.
Troglodytes. It could be a cabin in the woods. Unless you know what that cabin is,
Cabin in the
don't be
woods.
there.
Near where I live, there used to be like an old abandoned insane asylum,
Nope.
but they turned it into a haunted house. Yeah, and like there's a section where you can like go through a haunted house with it, or there's a section where you can like actually spend the night in the abandoned hospital. Yeah. I can't remember the TV show, but they like, it's like, is it fact or is it faked or something? But they came out to visit to like record shit and see if it was haunted. And there's like a ball that like got rolled into the room. Nobody knows what happened there. So yeah.
I don't like that.
I hate that. Here in Philly, they have the Eastern State Penitentiary, which also gets turned into a haunted house. That shit's actually haunted, much like that. And I'm like, why are we putting people through there? Now, Sky, do you want to say the quick story about how we parody this ending?
Yes. So
Or Claire, here you go.
Yes.
So
Please.
the standing in the corner is so iconic, which is, I agree with Antonio. This is what I think of when I think of the Blair Witch. So when was it? Was this 2019? Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios. We pretty much go every year. And this particular year, it was was it Pandora's Box?
Mm-hmm.
Pandora's Box maze. And we're in a line, basically, and Antonio's in the front. And then I think it was Jenna and the other person, and then me. But Antonio was in the front. And we get into this room where there's like a throne and like this devil character sitting on it. And it looks like they're sitting on the throne. And we get kind of backed up in the line. So Antonio's like right next to the throne. And there's like a little corner area. So it's like a...
Yeah, it goes like...
Yeah. So there's like an area where there's a little corner. And there's like the scares happen like every couple minutes or whatever. And the scare with this throne is the guy is actually on stilts. So he's actually he's like on stilts, and he gets up and he's really tall. And Antonio's right next to him when that happens, and he gets up and he goes to Antonio, and Antonio immediately goes into the corner.
Blair Witch style.
Blair Witch style. What were your thoughts, Antonio, during that moment? Do you want to
I'm
share
gonna
with the
die.
class?
My singular thought was, I'm gonna die. This is how it goes. That was it. I just remember like him sitting, and then I didn't know he was on stilts, and then he gets the full, like, he fully extends upwards, looms over me, and I'm just like, my immediate reaction is like, no, and I just kind of stand in the corner, and that's where I am for, I don't know, could have been 10 seconds, could have been 10 minutes, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do, because I was stopped, I couldn't go anywhere, I was stuck in the line, he was just gonna menace me until he was finished. But yeah,
So all Sky saw was him in the corner. It was like that visual of Antonio just staring
That's
at
so
the
funny.
corner.
It was beautiful. I will never forget that.
It's so nice to see him be humbled.
I think that's what it was. Truly. But he faced his fears the next year, and I was the one that got. I think I fell. He like loomed over me and I fell.
Always fall.
I didn't fall. Hey, I didn't fall last year or this year. I didn't
You
fall this
didn't
year.
fall this year.
I did not.
I was there.
Good for you, gal.
Thank you.
I'm always the one to fall.
Why do you fall? Because she stays so low to the ground.
I'm like ducking constantly, and then
Yeah, mine's like I'm crouched and inching along. Yeah. And then I just figure maybe it's like a fight or flight, and I'm just like, I'm gonna play dead. And hopefully they pretend that-
small animals must play dead in order to survive.
Yeah.
This is the only way I'm going to get through this.
So Claire, was it worth a watch?
Yes. 100% worth the watch. Yeah, I'm so glad that I did this. Like I said, I think it's definitely a rite of passage, especially if you like found footage movies. Like, this is the one that started it all, so we have it to thank for all these other found footage movies. So yeah, definitely worth the watch for me.
Were you scared?
Yeah, like I was a little scared at certain parts, but not like to the point where it's gonna traumatize me. Although I will say I finished watching it and it was late, and I was like, I don't feel good. So maybe it did leave an impression on me. I was like, I feel like the end, like I just kind of expected to see a little bit more than not seeing anything. So that was probably something where, like I kind of missed not seeing just anything, like even like a shadow in the corner or something. But overall, I think it was really effective.
Do you guys think that like in the I don't, you know, this was what, 97 this was filmed, so I don't know how they would have done it, but like, do you think it would have been more effective? Because I know at the end it just, the camera falls and you hear her scream and then nothing, and then it's on that for a couple seconds. Do you think it would have been scarier to see like feet like hovering?
Oh no.
Oh,
That
yes.
gave me
I
chills
think that'd have
just
been a
now
little
as
bit
you said it.
Scarier.
Very
It goes to silence, right?
chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I honestly think it would have been scarier if you just heard screaming in the background for Heather and like not see anything about the Blair Witch, just like screaming and whatever the heck it is that happens, you know, because
I do think
Not even feet, dude.
I think it is really effective not seeing the Blair Witch at all, and you know, the whole like, you know, left to your imagination thing. But I think that would have been really effective. I think that would have spooked me.
Okay.
I think that would have
I've
left
last
Because you
name
still don't see
last
things.
name drop. Then they do that in Gonjam Haunted Asylum.
God, that movie. That movie was scary.
That movie.
That movie was scary.
I would have liked to see floating feetsies. I agree with you, Sky, because it still leaves a lot to your imagination. But that little feetsy shot would have been good. Those foot pics would have been good.
No,
Could have been hooves.
Ew, not hooves.
Across the screen, it was just like the whatever, like the if the Blair Witch was wearing some sort of like cloth and it was just dragging across
Yeah.
the floor. You don't even
So
see
you
feet.
wanted
Yeah.
like an actual person.
That's what I was thinking.
So
No,
okay.
now just claws.
well, the camera's
Claire
on
said
the
hooves.
floor.
So
That's
Claire
oh,
said
no. All of that.
hooves because of the galloping. Yeah, but like
'Cause she's a horse.
I believe.
She's
she's
half
got
horse.
Yeah. That's why I'm so confused. Like, oh, you wanted like floating feet. So is she like an
Or
actual
like something,
human?
like just
something, floating something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
floating.
whatever.
So
like a little.
what they gave you
Yeah.
in the Blair Witch 2016 did not work for you.
Bro, I don't even think I finished that movie, to be honest. That's how much I did not like it.
I liked it.
Okay, because I got
All I'm saying is like, not even like, because I know it's like in the Blair Witch 2016, it's like a full body
Full
pic,
body
right?
shot.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying not even full. I'm just saying half. I think I like the hooves idea. That's creepy too. And then or the cloth that Dahlia's saying. Like that, just a little something. Just a little bit more. A little tease.
Just to make it more
Yeah.
tangible.
Just a hint.
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A little tease.
Just a touch.
Give him a little sneakle peekle.
Yeah.
All right. Hot cast, solid cast, I guess. That's a good segue.
They put in the work, but they're not hot.
I said I'd say solid cast. They did it, if it's all improv, they did a really good job.
They did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They put their whole fucking pussy into this role because they literally had no choice.
You know, okay, so going for unlikable characters, there are movies where the characters are unlikable and you just, like, you know, I'm done. I don't really want to watch this at all. They did a really great job of, like, keeping the audience hooked long enough to actually, like, stick it out until the end and see what the heck happens to them. Because there are movies where I just
I
check
cared
out.
about what happened to them.
It's somehow I still wanted to know what happened.
Yeah.
Whereas some movies I mentally check out and that's when my phone comes out and I'm just like, oh, what's happening? What? Okay. And then just go back onto my phone and just ignore this movie. So this, they
to
do a
Candy
great
Crush.
job.
Back to Pokemon Go.
Don't
you
bore
yesterday.
me.
Costume design, set design, location. How do we feel about it?
No, go back.
Are scary.
Soundtrack score.
Oh.
There was no soundtrack.
Then we will, because honestly, I was
there
thinking
was-
this. We should probably start talking about like sound design in general, because
It's in.
we've
Talk about it.
because you know the twig snapping. You guys said that you had to turn it up in order to hear it. Personally, I didn't do that. I heard the twig snapping and I was like, I hate that. If I ever heard if I ever heard twig snapping in the woods, I'd be like, I'm out. We already know how I feel about Bigfoot. We do not need to be going down to anything else. But like between that, the screaming, you know, just the nature sounds and just how realistic of like almost like a home movie this is, found footage.
So
Costume, because we already talked about sounds technically. So the set design location. I feel, Claire, like you were about to say something back when we mentioned it the first time. The woods location.
Oh yeah, I mean the woods was great. It was woody and scary. So I feel like the woods were a great setting for it. Costume design, I didn't really. I mean, they looked like campers. I was trying to like see if there's anything 90s about it, and the only thing I really recognized was like how Heather has her hair in the beginning with like, I don't know what you even call it, like the band in her hair in the first scene. But yeah, I thought it was good. They looked wet and miserable the entire time, so I feel like they nailed it.
Got him.
Yeah, got them.
Do we have any favorite quotes?
I wrote the one where this is one where they come across the stick figures, and I think Mike said, "No redneck is this creative."
That was mine too. That was mine.
I
Love
can't
that.
believe I wasn't paying attention to that.
You were on Pokemon Go.
There were some pretty funny lines in here. Like there was also one where they lose Josh, and Heather goes, "We can't even find the car. How the fuck are we gonna find Josh?" That was funny.
It's a good one too.
Yeah, that redneck one really stuck with me as well.
Didn't mean to be funny, but it was.
Yes, and yes. I think that I would have like not died, but like loved to have like seen this movie in 1999 when it came out if like I was a little bit older, and to actually believe that it was real at the time, and then to find out later on like, oh nope, it wasn't. I just wonder what that would have done to me psychologically. But anyway, I definitely think the movie is worth like all the hype it has received, even though like maybe it doesn't hit the same way. Like, what has it been, almost 25 or over 25 years later since this movie came out? But even though it doesn't hit maybe quite the same way, I definitely think it's something like everyone should watch, especially if they're really into found footage.
If it hits, it hits.
And it do hit.
Is she queen found footage?
Ooh, not for me personally, because I still love Paranormal Activity above all of, even like the Paranormal Activity franchise, I think is good. But yeah, I think it's up there. It's like top 3 probably.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere it was like the 41st top grossing scary movie, which is incredible because I think their budget was like $30,000, and then post editing it was like $300,000 ish. So like this was a pretty low budget movie, TBH, and it made $250 million, I think, worldwide.
Claire,
Really?
thank you so much for joining us. You want to plug in your stuff?
Where can people find you?
Yeah, so we're Why the Flick podcast. We're like everywhere you can listen to podcasts. I think like Spotify, Apple, or the big ones. And then we are also on social. We're at Why the Flick on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And we also have a Letterboxd where we post all of our reviews there too. So you can check us out wherever those places are at Why the Flick.
Yay. Thank you for joining us. We're chaotic.
Thank you. Thank
So-
you for putting up with us.
Oh my gosh.
Let's phrase it that
You
way.
guys are just like the best energy, honestly, and I love like hearing you guys each episode. So I'm like super thankful and happy you guys asked me to come on here and be your first like what do we say?
Cross-contamination.
Cross-contamination.
Cross contamination. Yeah, definitely.
That's it for Sit Down Loser. We're watching a movie. Join us next time.
Bye, losers.
Yay.
Woohoo!
Yay.
Yay!